Good morning. It's Judge Pottage here, and it's the new episode of Judge's Duels, episode 4. And I've been kindly joined by Simon Holden from Holden's Horses. Hello, Si. How are you, mate?
Hello, mate. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm here. I'm okay. Yeah, one of my favourite weeks of the year upcoming, this, Judge, the old July festival and up there at Ball of Chalk, the old Smithies. Yeah, this is going to be great. But yeah, got some good stuff to talk about. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, pleasure's all mine, mate. And obviously, please check Simon out on Holden's Horses YouTube. Obviously, check me out on at Judge Pottage. And you are outside. Which one are you on Twitter?
Oh, at Lord Oakwell. Not a genuine Lord, but there is time.
Brilliant. And please, obviously, subscribe to the channel and hit any notification bells. Right. First time I've actually said that and done that, but let's go over the racing, mate. First thing I'd like to talk about, Si, is crowd attendances. What do you think about this? That's quite a drop, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I didn't know whether Sandown were staging a kamikaze pilots reunion night on Saturday. There appeared to be nobody there. I mean, this is a Group 1 day. It's let's just go through it very quickly. Newmarket, first meeting, the Craven, attendance massive down. Chester, massively down. York, Dante meeting, the first day. I've never seen so few people at the Knavesmire. So we're talking about meetings that are usually blockbusters. Ascot is Ascot. You know what I mean? Yeah. Goodwood will be Goodwood. However, you know, once you start seeing attendances like this, the sport's in a little bit of trouble, Judge, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think I was getting a bit concerned. They knew I was there, but it was me.
Imagine if you hadn't gone.
Exactly. I made up for at least. Well, anyway, moving on.
It'd have been just you and the Doiler.
Brilliant. Right, I've got, so obviously the first one I've got is actually a horse that ran at Sandown. And I think if you go racing sometimes, you do pick up little nuances when you're there. And also you pick up things from obviously looking the race back. But obviously I think I'd have to be in Roy Orbison not to have spotted the first one with his sunglasses on. Like, I'm all over Pickwell. If you look back to the 4:45 at Sandown on Saturday, the stout horse, I don't think it's Ryan's finest ride. Slowly away she was. I don't think she liked the ground, if I'm honest, but she didn't get on the home straight. She didn't get a run for about 2 furlongs, and eventually came through into second in a slowly run race where the winner was given a brilliant ride and an excellent video on Twitter about Luke Dace and everything. It's always worth looking at that.
Yeah.
But I also went back on Pickwell's previous run where she won at I've lost it now. I think it's Nottingham. And the 4 horses that finished behind her that day, 2 of them have come out and won and 2 have come second. So I think it's an excellent piece of form. She's only running off a £4 higher mark. She must be one for Judge's Duels because she must be able to win off a mark for 78. So that's my first one. And that is Pickwell.
Pickwell, yeah. I tell you what, my thinking there, great ride from Marco Gianni. I mean, not just very underrated young rider. And of course, everything went wrong for Ryan and everything went right for the winner. It was one of those races. You know, like people say, if he could have the ride again, but they never do get a chance to do that, do they? My initial thoughts watching that was I'd love to see Pickwell up to 1.5 miles.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, she definitely stayed further.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
She finished very well at Nottingham as well, didn't she?
Yeah, and I think that's where your improvement will come. I mean, this was a Class 4 handicap. You can mark up the first 2, can't you?
Yeah, I think so. I'll be surprised if the winner doesn't go in again, actually, as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, because people will just think about the bad ride from Moore, won't they? And they'll forget the winner. They'll say he fluked it. Well, he didn't. It was a good ride.
No, won it comfortably, really.
Yeah, very good. Are we moving on to my first one?
I do like the blatantly obvious sometimes, but I do like little subtle ones, like obviously, which I'm going to come to in a minute. But I'll let you go for your first one next.
Very kind, very kind. I'm going to go back. My 2 to look out for next time are both from Sandown. And first one was in the 150, the first race. And it is a horse I've got a couple of angles for, Judge.
I know.
Equilateral. He knew it was coming, didn't he? Equilateral. Now, I think we've got to be clear with these. When we get, I was unlucky in running, back it next time. Some horses were unlucky in running and they were never going to win anyway. So don't just look for horses that get blocked up. My angle here is that this was horse's second run of the year. Looking at some of the paddock pick stuff, people said he still would come on from this. The horse is 7. I don't think Charlie Hills can really do much but get this horse out again soon. Slowly into stride, blew the break. Then he was held up by Schumacher. Now, when you hold up a sprinter at Sandown, you can't then moan about being, because you're likely to find trouble. Yeah. You just are. It's that type of track. Everybody wants to be on the same lane. What was particularly is when he finally accepted there was no run and switched out exaggerated, he then got mullered by a horse coming back inside. Yes. So, I mean, I don't think Equilateral is answering to the nickname Lucky anymore back at the yard. I think this is an underrated sprinter. You look at some of his back form. He loves this summer fast ground. I think he's going to be out very, very soon. Yeah. Talk of him running in Ireland. I don't know, but get him in your tracker because this was a decent race and he had no chance at all the way it panned out. I think he's kept his form. He's obviously 7 now, but I think there's a decent summer sprint in this one. So forgive him. Equilateral's got to be my horse to follow there in the first.
It's one of those things, I think let's say if you're a human, you went out for a run, that literally had a jog. It didn't even have a race because it never had the chance to open up and have, it literally had a jog in behind. Actually, it's one of them ones I did actually back him and had a sabre and another horse in the race. And I was watching the other horse, to be fair. It wasn't until afterwards I realised how unlucky he was. He really didn't have a race.
No. He was mullered twice. And of course, people are going to have a go at Schumacher, but the problem is the horse maybe has to come with one run. Exactly. So he was going to be held up. Yeah. What are you going to do? But yeah, he'll be back, and that money was lost his length.
Definitely. Funny enough, you're on about sort of sprinters in that. I did spot one. By the way, Judges Jules, the first episode, 2 from 2 on that episode. We had 2 winners on the channel this week. Wodeton came out and won easily, and on Saturday, Ventura Express won. But there was a horse in Ventura Express's race that was a little bit unlucky, but we'll take the win on this occasion.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work like that.
They never mention when you will, people never talk about when they won a handicap chase because the leader fell at the last and there's one. It's always when you were on the one that fell at the last that you tell everybody, isn't it? Yeah, that's punching.
Bank, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Shall I go for my next one? Yeah.
I think you should, mate.
Okay, thank you. Funny enough, I'm going once again for another one that was at Sandown. I actually backed a horse in this particular race for 4:45 on Saturday, and I thought, well, that's an eye catcher. And it came home, and then I watched the video back, and I thought, no, there's one in this race that was the real eye catcher, and that's his Protagonist. If you have a look back, it's changed trainer from Jesse Harrington to William Haggis. And
what race are we? Sorry,
the 4:45 on Saturday. Or was it the 4:10? Get it wrong.
I think, 4:10. Yeah. It's such an eye catcher. It wasn't in that race.
It's the wrong race.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you watch this back, bearing in mind you know how strong Marco on this. This was the first run for the new stable. It's definitely for me bigger pots in the future for this.
Yes, yeah.
It won in I was about to say France. There, I was definitely losing the plot. Running Ireland last year and won a handicap of 86. This rated 89, definitely won't be going up for this run. But if you're about turning into the home straight and not getting a run, this horse never come off the snap. And just gently pushed, it never got a clear run. I thought this was a real eye catcher for me. And I'd be surprised this doesn't pick up a 1.25 mile handicap in the coming weeks. It may be a valuable one. So I do like the looks of this one. This is Protagonist, the William Haggis horse.
When you think coming up, we've got huge 1 mile 2 handicaps at York, at Newmarket, at Goodwood.
Yes. I kind of think that might be the one, because obviously I think obviously Newmarket's going to come up too soon, but it certainly could see York because he likes to have a handicap winner there, Haggis, doesn't it, York?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. What an incredible season he's having.
Oh, yeah, and they're on fire at the moment. It's been off for a while, so it's one of them one. It's a bit like the other horse. Because it's a 1.25 mile race or a mile race. Obviously, you can have more of a race than a sprinter, but this horse has never had a race. So it's just literally added a trip to the races, is what I would say. And your second one, mate?
Right, I want to talk about the Eclipse because I think Buick's taken a lot of stick for the ride he well, let's put it another way. The way he allowed, and the other jockeys did, the race to be run to suit Verdini, which was a typical French race where they jog round incredibly slowly and then sprint the last furlong and a half.
Yes.
Now, where I would slightly defend Buick is Native Trail was stepping up in trip from a mile to a mile and 2. So there had been that small little voice, and Appleby said himself, we think he stays, but we'll find out today.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not a handicap. I don't think Appleby's trying to fool anybody. So I possibly think Buick was kind of caught between two decisions there, because if you watch Native Trail's runs, this is not a turn of foot horse. This is a resolute galloper that keeps a gallop going when others can't. The Guineas form is rock solid. It was boosted by the horse itself when he won the Irish Guineas. That form was then given an almighty whack by Caribus at Ascot.
Yeah.
And I was really excited about seeing this horse running in this. And my one thing was, I hope that they ride it as though he will stay and get at them. If you watch the replay, Buick is keen to be quite well back. He actually, halfway through the race, is third last, and Verdani second last.
Yeah.
He then gets going a little bit, but because they're coming off such a slow pace, he's actually out sprinted by the winner and by Mishriff.
Yes.
But if you look at the last furlong, I feel that Native Trail's just actually getting into that gap, like the horse is going, well, what's going on here? We're not going very fast today. Usually it's like point and go. And I genuinely think now they know they got it wrong. And I would look at another 1 mile 2 race. I'd keep him at this. I'd go for something like the Juddmonte at York. And I think he'll be too big a price. I think people are going to say he's a miler. He didn't carry that form through, and they're going to misread this race. The whole style of the race was wrong for Native Trail. If he's ridden aggressively at a mile 2, I will take him to beat Mishriff or Verdini next time out, anywhere they race. I'd be that confident.
I can see your point. To be fair, at the time, I was quite pleased to manage to back the win. I couldn't believe the price of it. It's like,
well, 6-4 out to 11-4, but then he got the trainer, quite rightly on Saturday, was honest with everybody, and he said he would have preferred the rain. He was concerned about the fast ground, but of course that fast ground meant when it was a crawl, he was able to show that turn of foot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he actually out sprinted them.
Yeah.
And Native Trail just did not have the race. So people saying Buick should have gone on. Yes, of course he should have done. However, first time at the trip, what he didn't want to do was go hell for leather and find out later on that it didn't stay. So I actually think that it's a little. Look, I wish he'd gone for it. You see, if he'd gone for it and they'd caught him close home because he didn't get a mile and 2, I think you can go, well, there you go.
Yeah.
But the fact that he just crawled round, and this isn't a turn of foot horse. This is an out and out, almost like a sort of right. Let's see how you like running at this pace and how many of you can keep up with me.
Yeah,
and if you look at
hard 800 meters as opposed to sort of like a 50.
Exactly. Now York with that long straight, I think if they let this horse loose round the bend and you've got that long 4-5 furlong, I don't think he'll get caught. I really don't.
It'd be great if he goes. It'd be some race, wouldn't it? Of course, you're on about the Guineas form. It's very interesting because obviously Korea be a sort of like scraped home, didn't he, at Ascot? You know, he did scrape home, and everyone
from a good field.
Yeah, and everyone was kind of saying, "Oh, the Guineas form's not good." I was one of them, to be fair. And then 2 horses ran at the weekend, which made me think, well, Native Trail was the danger to Verdini particularly. There was I can't remember, Tagarid Bay or Tagarid something in Hannon horse was miles behind it. That came out and won a handicap at Haydock on Saturday. And also, if you looked in an earlier race, there was a really good 0 to 105 on the card.
Check-in challenge,
yeah,
whatever.
That's the one. Yeah, I think you mentioned it on our when we covered the Guineas.
Yeah,
that ran an eye-catching race.
Very good race. That's good form. Yeah, I mean, it's
a good handicaps we're talking about. And they're running off marks of 100 and nearly winning them both. And they're tailing off in the Guineas.
Well, I think we'll look back at the end of the year and think that was undervalued because let's be very clear, there's never a bad classic. There's just ones that are not as good.
Yeah,
They're always worth following.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
you won't have a useless Derby. You might have one that wasn't as good as previous years, but there will be good horses in it.
Yeah, especially in their comparison of their year group, if you like. But the 3-year-olds doing well against the older horses this year already. You know, you're already seeing that, aren't you? Do you know what I mean?
Another reason.
Always a good line guide is when they're winning handicaps against other horses, because at the end of the day, especially good ones, not these 0 to 70s, you know, 0 to 100, 105. So they're good quality horses.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I also think that once you start to see a generation is strong, you've got to start looking at anti-post options, because I think Native Trail should have won. A 3-year-old did win. Mishriff is extremely solid in these races. Yeah. You got Lord North, Bay Bridge, who seems to be, you know, backed as though defeat's out of the question. I don't know why he's so highly rated.
I could not believe he was favourite, because he beat a day, but he got beat the day before in a listed race, you know.
And, you know, drifted like the Kontiki. Yeah. I mean, I think now that this is a 3-year-old crop to follow. And of course, I'm confident that if he goes, that Native Trail would be very tough to beat at York. But you've got horses like the Irish Champion Stakes, where 3-year-olds can take on the older horses. And then, of course, do we start looking at art prices? And
mile and a half? Do you think
no. I'm saying just as 3-year-olds. Yeah, in general. I don't. Yeah,
I definitely have to be. Yeah. Obviously, that's another thing down the line. But I'd definitely be with the 3-year-olds at the minute. The way up from
but you'll get your value now.
As get value with with Native Trail in the Jumpmont, because everyone will think it wasn't unlucky, and you're going to get a much bigger price on that basis.
Yeah, and I don't think it was unlucky. I think he got it wrong. Yeah. And I can't see a Juddmonte being run like that. Can you? Where they like,
no,
you know.
I got a feeling it'd be a bigger field than normal as well.
By the way, when I go like that, it means they go really slow. That's the thing. Yeah. So I cannot see a Juddmonte being run at those fractions with the first 6-7 furlong. No, there never has been one.
Very likely, Aidan O'Brien will have one in it, and he's almost certainly going to have a pacemaker in it as well, isn't he?
As somebody put on one of the Twitter discussions about it, you know, you look back, could Godolphin have put a pacemaker in?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Yeah. O'Brien would have done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then he would have denied it and said, "Oh no, they're all there to do the best."
That's right.
Yeah,
all on their own merit.
Listen, Mike, and all that brigade.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
brilliant, mate. So I've just got one more selection. I always like doing one off left field,
yeah.
I'm actually going for a horse that didn't run at the weekend, but formed Tuesday over the weekend. And the horse I'm looking at is Bizarre Law. It's an I'm going to say no right. It's an Andrew Balding handicapper, and the one at Goodwood the other week.
Right. I seem to remember that race.
Came down the outside, and he looked like he was going to win quite comfortably. And the jockey thought, "Hang on, I better not win too far." And he won about a length. Right. Well, interestingly, 2 horses that finished 2nd and 4th behind him that day were Nathaniel Green and Valsad. They both came 1st and 3rd in the 50 grand handicap at Haydock on Saturday. So for me, obviously, with a collateral form, almost certainly they're going to have to put up, while he's in his horse box, poor old Bizarre Law, he's probably going to go up another £1 or 2. But he had a mark of 85 before those 2 came 1st and 3rd. And
Is he entered up anywhere?
He's not at the moment, I can see, but I think that form was pretty. If you look back that Goodwood run, you'll see.
Would they go to Goodwood, the glorious meeting with him?
There could well be a case, because obviously it's got course form there now.
Well, Goodwood form repeats, doesn't it?
It does, and I'm not going to do the obvious joke.
I'll do.
Anyway.
I'll do that.
Thank you. So we got some horses now for everyone to follow now. So
we have.
I've got our Pickwell. So I did forget this the other day. Pickwell, Protagonist, and Bizarre Law.
Yeah.
And you've got Cyclone. You do your 2.
Equilateral, which I kept saying equatorial, which is completely wrong.
Yeah.
So don't look for a horse called Equatorial, although it might be good. So Equilateral, not just because of the unlucky. I do think he's coming to the boil, and they've got nowhere to go but really get stuck in quickly.
Yeah.
Midsummer and Native Trail, not unlucky, but people saying he doesn't get the trip, not as good over 1 mile 2, I think are wrong.
Okay, mate, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, mate.
Pleasure.
Be lucky, and I shall hang up, and good luck all.
All right. Good luck. See you soon.